Hey everyone, welcome. I'm Kirsten and this channel is all about how I explore the world as an autistic person. Most of my international travel is to and from South Africa, and a couple of people have asked me what a typical itinerary looks like. So today I'll give you a rundown of my most recent trip to South Africa. That's a fairly typical itinerary. When I'm going to South Africa, I always fly via Europe, and I try to stop over there for a couple of days so I can explore, see something new, maybe meet up with a friend there. Last time I travelled, I was with my younger son. We flew into Paris and got straight onto an airplane to London. We saw some friends, went on the London Eye, and spent some time in Birmingham with a friend and fellow YouTuber. Then we flew back to Paris, where we saw an amazing amount of stuff in a 24-hour period. The Eiffel Tower, the Catacombs. It was a lot. There's a video all about Paris. I'll link it at the top of the screen. From Paris, we flew to Johannesburg. It's a long flight. If you're flying from Europe to South Africa, aim for an overnight flight. I've done that flight during the day and it's not fun. Just a bit of a tip for you. In Johannesburg, we stayed at my mom's house. Most of the time was spent with friends and family. It's why we went, so our goal was to see as many loved ones as we could. After a week or so in Johannesburg, my son, my mom and I flew to Cape Town. We spent time with my brother who lives there, and we took in a lot of the scenery and attractions. We went to Cape Point Nature Reserve, which has an abundance of amazing views in all directions. We visited Robben Island, where Nelson Mandela spent 18 of his 27 years of imprisonment. We went on a boat ride that took us out of the harbour and into some very lively sea. My Cape Town video is still coming. There's a ton of footage that I need to go through. My mom flew back to Johannesburg, and my son and I hired a car and drove the garden route to Knysna. The garden route is a beautiful drive. The roads, for the most part, are in good condition, and the drive takes around 5 hours. Knysna is a small coastal town, and there's a lot to see there. We saw the Knysna forest, we took a day trip to the Swartberg Pass, and on a previous trip my older son and I went on a whale-watching boat ride. The best part of Knysna, of course, is that my fabulous cousin lives there, and it was so good to spend time with her. My son and I took a couple of days to drive from Knysna to Gqeberha, which until a couple of years ago was called Port Elizabeth. That was a nice drive, just a couple of hours, and although we didn't get much of a chance to look around in Gqeberha, we did have dinner in a beachside diner that was oozing character. When our time in Knysna was done, we turned in our rental car at the airport in George, about an hour's drive away, and we flew from there back to Johannesburg. We still had a couple of weeks left, and we spent some of that time at Tonglen retreat near Dalstroom. I try to go there every trip. You get some of the best sunset views there. It is a wonderful place to disconnect from the world and just be. Eventually it was time for us to make the long journey home. No stopovers in Europe this time. We were tired and just wanted to get home. We flew from Johannesburg to Amsterdam, and after a layover of around 4 hours, we flew to Toronto. The entire trip, from the time we flew out of Toronto to the time we returned, was about 6 weeks. Usually I'm away for about a month. You can do a lot of things in South Africa in 2 or 3 weeks, but my advice is to give yourself a couple of days to just relax after you land. South Africa is far from everything, really, and you could be slammed with jet lag when you get there. So if you're going, factor in a bit of time to recover from that. I'm going to be posting videos about a bunch of things you can do and see in South Africa. I've already done one about Johannesburg. You can check that out right over here. That's it for this video. I'll see you next time. Bye.